Good morning, skeptics. This is Steve here in Sydney. I've got a couple of things to bounce off you again. Stuff you might consider, vet very carefully by being skeptical toward it. But here is some evidence presented for you which can improve your understanding of things around you and within yourself. So it goes like this. This little chat is about recent developments in brain scan evidence, some police science evidence, and ESP, and James Randi. Isn't that just a wonderful subject? We're going to talk about the too hard basket and how police make damn good use of it, because they themselves are skeptics, typically very conservative skeptics. All they want is the facts, and they double check, triple check all the facts before they go into a court case, because they know they can lose on a single misspell of somebody's name. Criminals go free because of that kind of error, right? So policemen are very careful checking their facts and getting their evidence together and making sure it's absolutely perfect. And then we've got the latest upload I've made, which is a documentary description of a police department in the US that has been employing a psychic for some 30 years and successfully solving difficult cases, cold cases, dead cases with no evidence whatsoever. The police have been barking up the wrong tree, haven't got a clue. The psychic comes to the rescue. Now, how do the very conservative, skeptical policemen handle this jarring, in-their-face evidence that a psychic mumbling can know more than they do? Well, the policeman has a too hard basket, and he simply says, and it's in this case number 12, which I uploaded recently, an adjacent video here, he simply says, I've seen too many cases where the psychic's right. Conviction after conviction after conviction. I don't know how this ESP thing works. I don't understand psychic phenomena at all, but it does produce convictions which I cannot honestly ignore as a policeman. I'm forced to accept it. So he's an evidence-based thinker, and he's a pretty tough guy to convince, but conviction after conviction after conviction proves to this policeman that ESP is something, it works, it's real. And he uses the too hard basket. He just throws it in there. I haven't got a clue how it works. Now, what's wrong with your taking a lead from that very conservative policeman? There are many more in the uploaded cases I'll bring to you in my Kimbo99 account. What's wrong with your good self following the lead of hard-nosed, highly skeptical, conservative policemen? And just saying, well, I don't know either how the ESP works, but there's police convictions, there's people serving long-term prison sentences based entirely on the findings of an ESP person, a psychic or a medium or whatever you wish to call them. It's just a name. Now, why hasn't James Randi ever been drawn on this? He refuses to be drawn. He's been asked, what do you think about police forensic evidence for ESP, which confirms ESP actually being real and working? He doesn't answer because it will jar with his 40-year catch cry that there's no evidence for ESP. But the police have scientific hard evidence and convictions of people, criminals, who have confessed when they're apprehended to committing the crime that the psychic saw. So James Randi won't be drawn on that. He won't speak. He goes quiet. Now, that's the boundary. He won't use his too hard basket either, but for different reasons. He's got a showbiz career to not let down, to not puncture. It will go on forever while ever he remains silent, while he claims there's no evidence for ESP, the paranormal, etc. He could never admit the police could be right with their physical forensic evidence, but in your daily life, maybe you, as a practicing skeptic, could consider the evidence and use the too hard basket, just like conservative policemen do. A recent upload I made was about Dr. Persinger's brain scan experiments and that of Dr. Newberg, where they put meditators, Buddhists and Catholics seemingly very disparate religions, and they're found to be doing exactly the same thing inside their brain structures. The same areas go quiet and cool, turned off, while other areas run red hot because they're working hard. Dr. Newberg concludes that religious people are doing the same thing all over the world. The narration, the voiceover then goes on to say, this has profound implications. It means that evolution has likely installed our brain structure so that we think religiously, that we can't escape our genetic makeup, our physical makeup. The actual makeup of our brains predisposes us to think religiously. Richard Dawkins, in the same uploaded video, expresses some bitterness that he hates religions and he can't get rid of them. He wants to stamp them out and they won't go away. They've been around for hundreds of centuries, probably since cavemen, and it's to say you want to stamp out that much of humanity and its daily practices seems a very thoughtless thing to want to do. But skeptics follow Dawkins' lead, James Randi's lead, and seemingly want to do that. But can I ask you to consider, don't think for a second that an atheist doesn't have those physical brain structures, those funny lobes and things that do religious practices, because that's too simplistic. Because I think skeptics definitely do have all that physical religious brain equipment that I'm sure it would work on yourself too if Dr. Newman looked at your brain using a brain scanner, because you all do the great religious practice of devoting your life to James Randi online. Alex of Skeptico.com on a recent uploaded video, 3 videos I put up of an interview with Robert McLuhan, author of Randi's Prize, pondering pseudo-skepticism on the internet. Alex, the interviewer, he points out that James Randi devotees behave exactly like Christian apologists. That they won't listen to anything ill said of James Randi, and there's a lot to criticise in James Randi. He's been quite a rogue in his career, quite a rogue indeed. Yet his devotees defend him with religious ardour, you see. That's how I'm damn sure that you guys all have the same religious equipment in your brains, the same lobes and nodules and lumps of material that make up the network for religious practice. Because with every day you go online and you do battle against other religions. You don't like them. Yours is the one true religion. Everyone should be rational like yourself, like your religion, right? All other religions are wrong. Gee whiz, your behaviour is so wonderfully religious, I almost feel like worshipping you. But there's one problem. You're using your religious equipment in a way that's detrimental to your good self, in the sense that it is an established fact that disbelievers, even though they have the brain equipment to do religious practices and come up with this kind of mirror image religion they have of atheism slash skepticism, they do have shorter lifespans. They do have more heart and lung diseases, more arteriosclerosis and that sort of thing, more suicide and more depression. So it's quite a pernicious religion that you have. And I'm sure you'll agree that many religions are bad for people. They're not all good. They're not all good. Agreeing with you. A lot of religions have a lot of downfalls, a lot of shortfalls. James Randi's religion is fairly cruel to its practitioners. And I'm not asking you to change your religion. I'm not asking you to change your religion. What I'm suggesting to you is you go a halfway point. You can still devote your life to James Randi, the great father figure, the great can do no wrong leading figure. But can I suggest you simply do what that policeman does in that uploaded case number 12, where he just says, I've seen too many cases of reality for me to question the too hard basket. It's in there somewhere. I don't know how it works, but ESP is real. By so doing, you can then stop crusading daily with your religious devotions against other religions. You're using your religious circuitry to do this in your brain, which is kind of ironic, I think. Wonderfully ironic, beautifully ironic. Makes me laugh a whole lot. And So can I suggest you just accept like that conservative policeman does? Be conservative yourself, but be realistic that there's some things you cannot understand. We'll never understand, and that's why we have the too hard basket, where you put ESP, afterlife, pre-life, reincarnation, any paranormal things, you just dump them all in there. And we all honestly do it, because we honestly don't know the answer. Now, what's wrong with being honest? So there seems to be a little bit of practiced dishonesty in pseudo-skepticism, where you blindly insist against evidence, such as the police forensic reports and convictions, physical evidence gained by ESP, where you say that's not true, that's not happening. And that's the one area that James Randi will not comment on. He's being challenged on that. Victor Zammit has challenged him on that. Don't you believe in court case convictions based on ESP? The evidence has been going for 30, 40, 50 years. So James Randi doesn't want to go there, because he'd be shooting himself in the foot, ruining his own career. So, but must you ruin your personal life to support him? That's the big thing. With an early lifespan, a shorter death, more likely to suicide, more depression, with your daily practice of fighting other religions, crusading against other religions, all over the internet, bad-mouthing other people for not being a true believer like yourself. I do enjoy seeing your religious brain circuitry working, but when it's to the detriment of yourself, I disagree with what you're doing. And if you had a personal trainer, if you were the personal trainer of someone else, would you let them pursue a detrimental life practice, shortening their lifespan, increasing their tendency toward disease? Would you let another person do that? No, you damn well wouldn't. You'd advise them against it. So, can I be your personal trainer and insist you're doing yourself harm by the daily practice of bad-mouthing other religions, crusading against them? You can still believe in James Randi, the hallowed figure, that's okay. But no, he's got limitations and he won't go near hard police evidence. You can avoid that too and pretend it's not happening and the cases aren't real and they're all fake and fraudulent, but you can ring the policeman up and talk to them, you know. And just by admitting the too hard basket exists, like big, tough, burly, conservative policemen do, that's how they deal with it and remain skeptical. So that's just a few ideas I put to you. I don't want you to get the idea from that Richard Dawkins quote that he's not genetically endowed with the ability to feel religious experience, therefore you are not. Because you guys are all practicing religiously every day with your devotion to James Randi. Do remember that. So, I've just put a couple of ideas to you. Do what you will with them. By all means, dialogue with me beneath this video. I'd love to hear your point of view on this.